In this video, we're going to learn how to connect to a server and create a database using PHP. So first of all, let's go to our file FTP. Let's make sure we back up our previous file to our computer. And now let's create a new file and call it create database.php. Okay, so if we open this file, we can import the content from the previous one and just change the title to create database and the header as well to create database. And also let's empty the PHP tag for now. Okay, so let's access this file from our SQL folder. Here we go. Okay, so now before creating the database, we are going to connect to the server first. So let's just add an H3 saying connect to server. Okay, so to connect to a server, we're going to follow the same way for connecting to a database. The only difference is that rather than giving the host username, password, and database name to the MySQL connect function, we're going to use only the first three parameters. Okay, so let's just copy this piece of code. Okay, let's copy the whole thing, and I'm going to paste it there. Okay, and let's just uncomment all this. So we're going to define a link variable. Okay, and we're going to use the MySQL connect function. And as I said, rather than using 4 parameters, we're going to use only the first 3 parameters. We don't need the database name. Okay, so we're going to attempt a connection. If the connection is successful, then this is going to return an object. Okay, and then we're going to echo the success message. If it's not successful, then this is going to be a boolean false. Okay, and then we're going to have the output of the die function, and then the PHP script is going to stop here. All right, so let's just change the success message saying connected successfully to the server. Okay, so if we save and refresh, we can see that we managed to connect successfully to the server. Okay, and we can see that our link variable is an object. Let's change some of these parameters so that we get an error. So if we refresh, now we can see the error message there, which is the output of our die function. Okay, and you can see here the string, the error string, it cannot connect to MySQL server. Okay, and not database. Okay, so that's how we connect to a server. Let's go back to our correct value, and now you can see that we are connected successfully to the server. Now let's add a database. Okay, so let's add a new H3, create a database, and let's create a PHP tag. All right. Okay, to create the database, we're gonna need to write an SQL query. Okay, so the SQL query is going to store, we're gonna store it inside a variable SQL. Okay, so the query is going to go inside quotes, double quotes, and we can write our query there. So to create a database, we're gonna write create, okay, database, and then we can choose a name for our database. So for example, let's create a store database, for example. Okay, that's a simple SQL query. So our query now is stored inside the SQL variable. So now to execute the query, we are going to use a function MySQL query. So this function is going to perform a query on the database. Since we are just creating a database, it's going to perform the query actually on the server and creates a database for us. Okay, so the function MySQL query is going to return an object if it's successful. Otherwise, it is going to return a Boolean false. Okay, so to check if the query has been successfully executed, we can just check the condition MySQL query, or the return of the function MySQL underscore query. And this function is going to take a couple of parameters. So the first parameter is going to be the link variable or the link object. Okay, and the second argument is going to be the query to execute. Okay, so if it's successful, we are going to echo a paragraph saying that database store was created successfully. Okay. Else we are going to echo. So let's have a string error, okay, and then we can say enable to execute the query, okay, and we can just copy the variable SQL here, okay. And if we want to, we can add the error string of the corresponding to the query. So we're going to use another function. It's MySQL error, okay, and this one, unlike the MySQL connects error, is going to return a string description of the last error, not the last connects error, okay. So this one is going to return the last error, okay. So MySQL underscore error, and it's going to take as a parameter the variable link, okay.